Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel, Jusant, and I hope I pronounced the game in the correct way. Jusant is a very interesting game, great optics and as far as I can tell, a perfect 60 FPS performance mode on the Xbox Series X. And on top we have really great HDR, at least on the PC version, because unfortunately the Xbox Series version is missing very important settings. So let's come straight to the point. Jusant does not support the HDR system level calibration on the Xbox Series X or the PC, and I'm very sure the same counts for the PlayStation 5 version as well. And on top I found that the maximum peak brightness in this game is limited to 1000 nits, at least on the PC version. The Xbox Series X version here, what I'm testing, is actually a little bit worse because 700-800 nits, that's the maximum what I was able to measure. And now of course the question is, why does the PC version has a higher maximum peak brightness and specular highlights compared to the Xbox Series X version? And the answer is actually quite simple, because the Xbox Series, and I'm very sure the PlayStation 5 version or the console version in general, is missing a very important setting. So on the PC, when we go to settings, when we go to video, when we scroll down a little bit, we have actually the HDR brightness setting and the HDR user interface brightness setting. So both settings here are missing in the on the console version. So, and this is one of the reason why we can't max out the maximum peak brightness on the console version. So let's take a closer look on this example here, and this is still the PC version. So right now the lamp in the background has a maximum peak brightness of almost 1000 nits. So this is with the settings fully maxed out. So when we now go to the setting and we just, let's say, decreasing the HDR brightness to the absolute minimum, you can see what is happening. Not just you can't see anything anymore, but also the maximum peak brightness is roughly around 400-450 nits. So this setting here, the display settings under video, is actually changing the maximum peak brightness and specular highlights, and therefore I would recommend to leave this at minimum around the mid position to get actually a very nice maximum peak brightness out of specular highlights. The HDR black level floor in this game is really on a very high level, or should I say on a low level, because this is actually more true, because we have no issues with the HDR black level floor in this game. The game can, if needed, reach perfect OLED black, and I can show you this on this example here at the moment. And I know this is just a very dark corner, but it proves the point that the game can reach perfect OLED black. Okay, not perfect, because right now we have 0.000916 nits. That's nothing. That's almost perfect, okay? In combination with the very bright objects what we have on the screen right now in regards of specular highlights, we have almost 1000 nits. That means we have a very great contrast in the game when needed. And here we have the Xbox Series X version to compare, and what you can see here right now, the maximum peak brightness and specular highlights is roughly around 740 nits, 700 to 750 nits. And when we have a look in the option menu or option settings, then there is nothing what we have in regards of HDR settings. The only setting what we have is gamma, but this doesn't change anything at all in the game. So this is really just for SDR. When you play the game in SDR, then you can change the gamma. For HDR, you can't change anything on the Xbox and most likely on the PlayStation 5 version as well. That means you have a very dark picture, and using HGiG in this game is probably not the best idea. The good news is that the HDR black level floor is way too much actually, to be very honest, because as you can see here, you can actually see nothing in this corner, and the PC version can show you with some adjusted settings a lot of details here. So the Xbox Series X version is way too dark in regards of the average picture brightness and has some sort of HDR black level crush. So what about HDR colors in this game? And I can tell you, yes, Jusant is using HDR colors. HDR color space BT 2020 is actually used, at least in this very scene, a lot. As you can see, everything what is blue is the BT 2020 color space. But as always, we need to keep in mind that this is, the BT 2020 color space is not used all the time. As you can see here outside, everything is black and white. Okay, not everything, but most of the part. And that means Rec 709, that means SDR color space. But again, it doesn't matter that much because the game still looks very, very nice. And here in this cave, we have very nice HDR colors depending on where we're actually standing. But you can see Jusant is using the HDR color space DCI-P3 and BT 2020. Okay, my friends, so what is my summary now for Jusant? And I still hope I pronounced this or the name in the correct way. My summary is actually, very positive. I had a lot of fun testing this game, especially on the Xbox Series X. I had actually in the very beginning at least a much better performance than on my 4080 because the game suffered a little bit from stuttering, and I resolved this by fixing the frame rate to 60 FPS on the PC. So that's the PC version at the moment, what you can see, and I hope it doesn't stutter for you because it runs pretty well right now. So in regards of HDR, PC version is clear the winner here. It is much better because you have a higher peak brightness and you can actually set the maximum or the average picture brightness as you like it, which gives you an advantage over the Xbox version, because I found the Xbox version just a little bit too dark, and maybe you have to use dynamic tone mapping on to make it a little bit more pleasant. Let's say like this: HGiG in combination with a proper setting from the HDR brightness on the PC version is not a problem at all. As you can see here right now, it just looks amazing, plays amazing, and HDR again is great. We just like to have maybe a slider where we can have a higher maximum peak brightness and specular highlights for TVs like the S95C or the G3. But in summary, great HDR support on the PC, average HDR support on the Xbox and most likely PlayStation 5, but I hope we will see maybe future patches where we have more settings on the console version as well. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.